I realized all the guys who got the girls in the movies, the YouTubers with millions of subscribers, and the businessmen with billions of dollars, they all had one thing in common. They were great communicators. And I was not. When I was growing up, I was a shy, introverted kid who would struggle to strike up a conversation with anyone. I'd get red in the face. Talking to a girl would give me negative, spiraling thoughts that would never allow me to take action on it. And I did have an opportunity to improve this in my senior year. I got a public speaking class. I didn't even choose it. They just put it in my schedule. And at my first reaction was, fuck, I don't want to take this shit. But I went anyway. And during my first presentation, I failed miserably. I went up there, I was red in the face. It felt like I was gonna pass out, honestly. It was so bad, my presentation was shit. And the next day I dropped out of that course and I stopped it completely. I didn't try and improve my communication until I was 19 years old. So up until this point in my life, I just kind of got by doing, the bare minimum, being an average communicator and not getting any sort of exceptional results out of life. I realized at 19 that if I wanted to have the hottest girlfriends, if I wanted to build a business that was going to be valuable or make money in any way, shape, or form and not just be stuck in a basic 9-to-5 my entire life, I was going to need to become an amazing communicator. So during this time, the first steps I actually took was I read How to Win Friends and Influence People and a book called Captivate. They're both great books on being social, being charismatic, and just learning social dynamics as a whole and communication. So I read those two books and I proceeded to go on to Sweden for the first time. I was gonna be in Sweden visiting family for 5 weeks, and during this time, the idea was to put those books to use and apply all the knowledge I learned. So I remember reading the book and thinking, specifically How to Win Friends and Influence People, when he was just mentioning talk about themselves, get them opening up, and really keep the conversation focused on them. And I was thinking to myself, is this what charismatic really is? I thought, I had to be like Kevin Hart or Matt Rife, the funniest guy in the room, making everyone laugh to be charismatic. Is it really this simple that all I gotta do is keep the conversation on them and make them feel special? And let me tell you, it was. So whilst I was there, I went to the bars and clubs every weekend, twice on the weekends, and I was putting these skills to use. When I would go and approach girls, I would try and keep the conversation mostly focused on them, and I was surprised by how well this worked. See, up until this point in my life, I hadn't really been with that many girls, and this was the first opportunity where I really got to experience it, and I'd realized that getting with girls was as simple as just having a conversation with them, keeping the highlight of the conversation on them, obviously talking about myself a little bit, but then going on to just really just came down to having the boldness to approach them, to have a normal conversation, and this resulted in me sleeping with quite a few girls, and I was blown away. So I realized that Dale Carnegie was the best wingman ever. He gave me all the advice I needed to put this to use, that with some nonverbal communication that I learned in Captivate on being charismatic, and I was off to the races. I was, for the first time in my life, feeling charismatic and being a really good social communicator. And the thing was, it really wasn't anything that complicated. All the things that I needed and all the things that you need to be charismatic, you have within you. It was just a couple mindset shifts that are gonna allow you to actually apply that charisma. So in this video, that's what I'm gonna be diving into to teach you how you can improve your social skills significantly. So we're gonna be diving into this, and I'm gonna be giving you a bunch of value right now. So what we're gonna do is, we got 3 steps. The first one's gonna be do something every day that will build on the last. So for example, try giving someone a compliment, and it's gonna be awkward at first. I did this at 19. I was at the gym with my friend and I said, today's challenge is we're not gonna leave the gym until we both compliment someone. And me as a man of my word who sticks to my word no matter what, did it. But let me tell you the story and how awkward it was when I first started. So, we were at the gym session's coming to an end. We're pretty much finished at this point and neither of us did our compliment. And I was like, Max, we have to do it. That's my best friend at the time. So I was like, Max, we have to do it. And he was like, all right. So I was like, I'm gonna do mine. I go up to this lady who had some colorful shoes and I was like, I like your shoes. And she was like, what? And I was like, I like your shoes, they're nice. And she was like, thank you. And it was the most awkward shit ever, and I was red in the face, but I did it. So because I did it, I was proud of myself and I felt good about it, and I did something nice, even though it came out awkward and the delivery was shit, and it could have been 10 times better. I did it. And that's the idea, is you just need to break down those walls and start actually going out of your way and doing the things that scare you, because now I can deliver a compliment quite well. But back then it just needed to kind of happen awkwardly. And that was just the first phase for me in this journey, was just getting out there and trying and doing it and failing and getting better and iterating the process. So if you do something every single day that's going to improve your communication skills, like just giving someone a compliment or saying hi to strangers when you're walking around, these are the little things that are going to help you build up and really learn everything you need to learn and be the charismatic man that you dream of being. So that's the first thing, just one thing every day and try and build on it. The next thing is you need to do is reduce importance. So this was probably the biggest thing that killed my social success when I was younger, was I placed so much importance on making sure the conversation went well, or making, like, just trying to have this be like the perfect interaction if I was gonna go talk to a girl. And I placed so much value on that I never ended up taking action, or I overthought it to the point where it just got into my head and I messed it up if I did even take action. So this comes from the book Reality Transurfing. Reducing importance will allow you to have massive success with anything, but we're gonna focus it in on communication. I want you just to go in here with the mindset of, I'm gonna fuck this up either way. Like, I'm gonna go purposely to fuck it up. I don't care. I'm gonna mess up this conversation as bad as I can mess it up. And then you'll just be like, and if you just say that as kind of almost as a joke, you almost just take the pressure off. I've said this before. I've literally used this. This is not just me joking around. Like, you might be thinking this advice is stupid, but just hear me out. Because if you go in with the mindset of like, oh, I'm just gonna go out and purposely try and mess up, now you don't have any pressure to succeed. So you can go out and just try and be yourself and experiment around with no pressure of succeeding. And as a result, you usually end up succeeding. And this is one of the things the book talks about, is how once you've reduced that importance, your creative energy allows to flow out of you and you can really think clearly. So, I mean, reducing importance, you don't have to purposely do some dumb shit. You know, when I say go out and mess up as bad as possible, don't try and like say some shit that's gonna get you arrested or do anything crazy like that. But just go out with the intention of like, I'm gonna talk to this girl and I don't care how it goes. If it goes to shit, I don't care. I'll be happy with it. So that's kind of the idea behind reducing importance, is you just take away all the pressure for this interaction to succeed and be something great that you're putting up in your mind, and you're just like, I'm just gonna have this conversation and I don't care how it goes. And once you go with that mentality, now you can go and kind of with that just beginner's, learner's mindset and see how it goes, take from the experience and bring it to the next one, as we discussed before, improving every single day. And the last one out is just getting out there and speaking to people and putting yourself in social situations. So whether that's getting a physical sales job where you're gonna go door to door and talk to people all day long and be forced to use communication to make money, that's a great way. Going to bars and clubs, cold approaching girls, guys, old people, everyone. So for example, I'll give you another one with this. My mentor wanted to assess my current level of communication. So we went out into the street and he was just telling me, I want you to go and just give people compliments and just see how the conversation turns out. So I went in, there was this guy walking by, he was really fit, and this old guy. And I said, excuse me, sir. And he said, yeah. And I was like, how do you stay so fit at your age? And he just gave me some advice. And I was like, well, I hope to be as fit as you are when I'm older. And he said, thank you. He went on and did his thing. And my mentor gave me some critiques on how I could have improved it. And later, just to kind of tell you the story, when the guy was walking back, this was going into a grocery store, he came out and we were still in the same spot. He said, thank you, that genuinely made my day. I feel so great. And this is the type of positivity you can spread if you just start being social, and you'd be surprised how much positive things that will come out of this. I mean, in every single way, shape, and form, you're gonna change other people's lives, and the opportunities that will come into your life as well is gonna greatly go through the roof. So I'd highly recommend doing this, but it's just getting out there and talking to people, and you're gonna be able to improve over time. You don't have to worry about being perfect from the start. No one's perfect when they first start out. No matter what it is you're doing. If you go into the gym with no muscle, you don't expect to have muscle the next day. If you do, you have unrealistic expectations. So the whole point of this video, the 3 things, is constantly working to iterate and improve the process, building off of each interaction. The next one's reducing importance, so you're not placing too much value on each singular interaction, expecting it to go perfect, getting that girl to go on a date or be your girlfriend. No, you just go into it and have a conversation. And lastly is physically just doing things that are gonna put you in more social situations. So with those steps, that's the most important thing. And if you do wanna read some resources, like read some books that are valuable resources, I would highly recommend those 2 books I gave you. Those were the first 2. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People and Captivate. So those books are amazing on learning everything you need to know to go out into the world and actually apply the skills that you learned. Because those books will give you more than enough. And now it just comes down to you taking action and actually implementing it into your life. If you just read those books and don't take action, don't expect to get any results. It's as simple as that. So you need to actually go out there and do the steps that I'm telling you for this whole process to work. That is exactly what I did 3 years ago when I started being social. I started trying to learn charisma, was going out and talking to people, going to the bars and clubs, cold approaching girls at the gym, the beach, and I built myself up. So once you build yourself up, it's a little bit easier to maintain and constantly work on. And now that I work sales jobs, I constantly have, or I was working sales jobs, now I just sell for myself, but I'm constantly having online conversations on Zoom. It's as close to as in person as possible, and you're constantly working and developing it. It's never something that you're gonna just master and one day have charisma. It's gonna be a constant lifelong approach where if you genuinely wanna be charismatic, you're just constantly gonna be working at it, improving over time, and then becoming that person that you wanna be and being able to live your dream life. So that is all for this video. If you enjoyed this, then subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna be teaching you how to life max and get better in every single aspect of your life. And also I offer a free one-on-one coaching call. It's 30 minutes where we're gonna dive into your life's current situation, what your goals are, and give you actionable steps in order to achieve that. So if that sounds of interest, then book that call down below. Everyone else, have a great day, and I hope to see you on the calls, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.